Act 1. Hellmouth. I'm having a smoke, alone again it seems, and the girls don't believe I'm reading as they waltz through laughter and clusters of secrecy, refuse smiles beyond bare shoulders, and so they should. Their beer bottles sweat, trickle like their sentences, sloping, slow and thick, end in a drop, punchline forgotten, the memories are tangled again. And then see the waiter of this cafe ask me why I'm clutching my stomach like I've got an idea the world needs, and he asks to hear it from me but then says he had the same last week. And his band have started using tracks, aye. He's something of a poet himself, he says. Combines self-flatulation with Palestine. His singer don't want his words, he shrugs, that's alright. Some people use songs for escape and take their truths in different doses. Now the girl's talking violent, and is surprised at the brunette's strength as she tries to untangle herself from a man who likes to pretend he is Tantalus. She smells like smoke. The thick smoke of one cigarette not quite cutting it, and the beer never quite flowing at the same pace as they're unraveling. But the spiral is control, she says. And she decides whether it moves in or out. Yes, the spiral is a thing of protection, she says, punctuated by her bottle kissing the table. And then the waiter tells the next customer about this writer he had in who made himself schizophrenic just so his friends would understand why he was such a hassle. He had an affair with silence that made his family give up on him. They found him on the train tracks, just down from High Carntine, that the girls will pass over, laughing on their way to the aftergaff later tonight. And in the dissipation of that giggle, the old duet of our own laughter floats through me like summer rain, raising me from the rails. And that made a stick insect, clinging to your coat for one plonky chance to pop myself inside your pocket. In there to find solidity, the button of a coat you no longer own, a greening 2p piece intended for the beer buck jar for a year now, a needle and thread I selfishly think in case I come undone on the train again. Not that you have to worry about this any longer, I suppose. Now there is no Latin for what you might bloom to, you used to say. The audacity, a rasher sizzling that Sunday morning soul kitchen thing. What name? What could be anything? But then the laughter is gone, and the street is featureless. Your fading words are walking a motif, then cellos, shy and engorging, a polyglot air shaking the night swarming. And so emboldened by darkness and the moonlight's inability to pierce, I sifted through concrete thicket and pipe dream weave, still searching for the girl that spun the story of the spiral, and more importantly, her laughter. Beneath, wild verse was spoken in the shadow these bushes shared, and spilling up from there, I saw it. The gate of hell, and imperiously stood before it the gold horn Jack Hare, forsworn and blind, the gold horn Jack Hare, minor duke of hell, stood before a forerunner, the sunrise, and two long silhouettes, feathers fallen. Now, Through the rust, the jack hair led through cobble, my spectral limp, my caustic hip retained. Even in the bardo ball and socket did a dead man talk about phantom pains. Arriving then, raised wheat and broken plough, a canvas sign sagging like a baggy foreskin. The starving farm they call it. A place borrowed and slim, a howl laced through the valley forms a congregation, a woodland. Echoes are etched in the marrow of thorns, our barks are for silence, a new interior is made. In vigil in myself and cravenly galley stitched thunder to tongue and scored each fence post with her pen. The temptation waltz. Now he always kept one bland eye upon me. The jack hair, minor duke and child of Herne, as he led me glitzing onto masked alley, limbo of the living. A single moment the residents occupy for 20 years, elders tutting their tenacity, calling deluded and waster, then bragging of their long-known genius as the academy bestows legacy. Where tech rehearsals stutter from shuttered halls and audiences are chundered onto concrete like backstage praise. A scuffle smuggled outdoor here, a young widow made harlot there. Yes, the air itself is rank with demonology. The breeze is a necromancer's breath. No, it's just the old director's warbling. Spilling out from the rehearsal room window up above, let us stop to watch as he froths and gushes. Saying, the gun has been retired. Herald, herald. As Act 3 of Earth is but an Anthropocene away, as nuclear fission disproves Chekhov's law, replacing certainty by gazing down the barrel of a future unconsidered and unimagined. Yes, the die is cast, my friends, but there is still time to wash it out. But how human to hear only the chorus we can harmonise with when it is the verse that contains the lesson she pulls. My hips, northbound, listless chaos, reaching for a dandelion to make wishes that I may no longer compose curses. She raises her wrist, brings me bracken lips. Her teeth are a row of lighthouses. The moon has sought them out especially. Waiting eyes fall to bloodied places. The spectral thespian starts again, and the grass beneath her feet has been forbade. My right thigh is an immigrant in her hand. She lifts her arm again, and there are no dandelions left in the grass, nay, wishes remaining in the world. Only sections and sections and sections, their vision permitting a shrugging of responsibility. And the left are too busy hating the left for never being fucking left enough. She tries to warn us. Chekhov is swooping between us, divvying up our dreams till we rely on portions of selves. Cup and sweat on the dance floor, offering the soil salts to sip upon, but I can no longer even sip her. Her words, her hips, her snores. She becomes this fractal art form, some cubist wet dream, and misplaces the pockets where she would keep these things. Pockets and continents. This is all that tethers us now. Pockets and continents and bird feet. Silence now for the reminder that once there was home and whole. Now I nod to my navigator then. Off my selfie, the plains away for Chekhov's lane, mass alley glittered and bird shat and move on. Away from the memory toward the snapped anchor and contractual doubt. Now my companion stirs, his ears flitting round his gold-veined horns. Toward the dock the clouds are red. My mind is a minefield. I've been setting the shrapnel to be caught in a chain reaction of you. Another shore at last. I tried to give a boatman my coins, and he bequeaths his sigh in exchange like a heart. It's payment on arrival, wee man. So following his tremulous gait, his exposed vertebra clean and meat plucked in a moonbeam made chorus was I in the dreadnought's shanty. Onwards. Separating sea spray face silence, the salt from the waterbed. A voice like a siren, heat seeking an infrared, searching to claim each verse left unread. These words misled to death again, a gull's call as two tides are fused into a torrent, a chance, two tides meeting, waiting to be wed. No. Onward, the dreadnought is dependent on the devouring of dreams. The ship crewed by the undead and their sharp screams like those of children stolen from their beds. The ship is certain now, compass calibrated. The course is correct. It is the sea that is wrong, uncoiling and volcanic. Another refusal of the 100-headed song. Yes, onward. The ship charging through the churn like Sisyphus at dawn, the chunder of oars beneath the sky of Marxist red. Angry prayers hummed in attempts to pry the sea's horizon for that of the sky, and at last, paying the toll, ignoring all costs, the ship begs permission to dock. The craven call comes again, permission denied. See here! Double spaced, Arial 12. Can't you see where you've gone wrong? Now without such details as these, thy journey must be prolonged. Fuck, butchered by bureaucracy again. Less than heeded, the ship retreats into cozy dread. The crew finding focus in rejection. It's a place to belong. Onward then, another voyage needed for the 100-headed song. And later, at the helm I watched the boatswain, spotting something strange and spectral in the sea. He turns to his mate who is sat scribbling in the shade, and I strain for what he says.
Back to poems, is it? Back to dreams and choosing them. See, it makes me wonder all the moments missed since the last reminder that there is in fact invigoration in grey clouds and commutes. Back to excavating the catacombs of this body for voices that ruled these halls long before my own. Back to tending a wild god's garden, sweeping the similes between Achillea and Astrantia, seeking secrets in the undergrowth, truths, soil and serpentine. See, it's a little like waking. The clawing out of poems is a transitory state, dawning liminal wonders that not tended, not chance dilute to horror, or worse, ridiculousness. Perhaps then it is actually a migratory state, flitting out from the singular eclipsing taxonomy of a gull. Perhaps we lost 1,000 poems in calling this one writing and this one writ.
Now these words, they fell as frantic whispers, the neurotic panting of sirens between concert and overhead. It is a mischief of starlight. Somewhere back in the mortal world, the weight of coins on my eyelids sinking uncollected. How perfect the parable for my actions. Everything, tenacity, dream sickness, honesty, fucking everything accumulating to unpaid checks and a body I have to explain. But then I remember the moments that you would pat me down with the vacant intensity of Tom Waits looking for cigarettes. And suddenly you are before me, a phantom oar pinning my ankle, and I speak as I last can, as if I had on our last night. Saying ours is a hydraulic love of questions responded by actions, and I worry second guessing the sunset spent. See, 8 years ago I hit the ground, but I never stopped falling. I have buried myself in the sand when everyone else is swimming. So what dance of love is this, to foreshadow the demise of desire, so solitude does not seem so sudden as inevitable? I have prepared my body to operate lacking bones, so when you go by frustration or fear, then the windowsill will no longer be a reminder, but an omen in the contract of my survival. We took to land for a feed then. Believe me, hell has hunger. The jack here, drawing my eyeline to the blot on Hell's Glens, and squinting there I saw him, soundtracker to my Sunday morning, scalping the hillsides in the back of a black car. As the hearse moaned through the valley like a tear, the church taller than the town, last service of the day, the breathing funeral, their fathers. Stoic bedlam colonially, he is sat, the prince of rock and roll. Our festering renegade, his horns gently intruding, head drooping like the dart end of a scorpion. Noisily barren, the second row gapes. The prince stands as the only occupant of the front pew beside his younger brother, the prodigal cunt. Head twitching like a myopic rooster in his ambivalent coo, a necklace of pistachios strung like pearls, the prodigy, the pastor, the prince of rock and roll, hope fettered, waning yield, stitched with dream thirst, our faith chancing monarch raises the choir, bartering in psalms, his eyes pleading the pastor, bestower of the well, God Mackay. See, 46 years the prince has bled into his instrument till he could practically hear the tremolo between his heartbeats, only for a fucking 12-year-old to be taking the title and be called king. What the fuck is that? And so the prince has made a moment that never comes, retired in ignominious silence, his status rosily usurped as the younger took up the crown and placed a plectrum on the coffin, gave eulogy, enveloped in brutalist defiance. The mourners bore the sky and drank freely the day. Now naturally, the wake burgeoned with song. The bar was a snap-gastric band filled with hollow words as the young heir wept triads and vomited distortion as the prince sat, carnivorous mind and single malt, calling softly on Prometheus chained to the feedback loop. It's noise. Of the pill and from the ghost of a going It's 3 a.m. then, apparently, and the streets of this unfurling place seek a body, and she has found one to borrow in the prince. Their shadows merging, conspiratorial in a mitzy of moonlight fine. Let his brother lug the crown, for he has luminaries to eat. Fucking something out of your muse might be one thing, What if he wants to hurt her a little bit too? Might diminish chords with her spine. Dorian modes burgled fair larynx when she asks him if this is love. He just says, my father's dead, baby. This is just rock and roll. I don't want to see this, man. Lay on, Jack here. My ankles are aching your pace, and I asked him of his purpose, why he took me to such a place. For you have been dreamsick long, my arrogant bard, when dreams should be what the horizon is to the gal, back to the swear, the dreadnought, the banality of progress, the diminishment of ducks. Made no mistake, Orpheus was an architect and only turned to build himself a legacy. It was barely an hour back on boat. Barely an hour rejoining the dreadnoughts chundering before we hear land ho! And the Jack here explains the glee of the call. They have been in search for a century, you see, and at last the sailors have spotted the library they seek. They drop in like the aurora annually, they feast the dead librarians, the dead sailors, mutual lovers of stories, structures, and good fucking gossip. We are led through the corridors where a door of long-rotted wood weeps with a brimstone lecture, saying, are you dropping breadcrumbs on bombs? The professor's roar is bleeding through, clutching an exemplar of Hemingway, ratty and tear-stained, and scorches it across the student's arse. She has spilt her womb for her studies, her dandruff made into gravel, as the old man is pulling Yeats for his bungled armpits, solidifies Shelley for his musk. The poetry splutters and gushes. Each breath inflates him to being practically spherical. The poet must always be playing with his meter. Face like practicing fellatio on a dentist drill. Now, the student turns at last, sans shyness, hope suckling and wide, and screams, I am the fucking pentameter! I turn away at this point. Death, I've decided, is a bit fucking weird. So instead, I follow the student onto the street, and on she spews. Yes, the crowd are under siege. An apostle made desolate, says she. A delinquent's dynasty, dynamic debauchery is always sorcery, and you'll see these smoking tendrils of history spiraling round my ascendancy. Oh, you remember me, as the inclemency of the sky roars, an omen of ignored prophecies. Oh, in your time of need, when it is too late to take heed, enter me. She says in parentheses, the tragedy and travesty of this century is compounded generations of lacerations, yet these streets have found seers in their scrolling. The streets have found prophets in the drowners' realization that reality just isn't fucking worth it. Perfection without redemption, oil fields, budding groves, refugees are cooked well done here, grenade bins. War as wedding rings, as meaning is usurped by wanting. And see stillness, the effect of our schizophrenic speech as the bones of dogs rattle in the streets, virile and building. The very seams of the sky are sown with thunder, seep-in storms. Here in the Hellmouth we stand, gathering howls, gnashing fangs for one last taste of hope. Drizzled cheeks, laboured arms, the weight of oneness barely outstepping the dark, shearing indecision, tongues pulled forth by the fist of your brother to find it working the fonder. Where are you from? A stranger asks. Same planet. you say. Smug. A bit too fucking sure-footed if you ask me, but nothing to lose but time. And the stars shatter. The dome breaks, rage crushes down as hope becomes orbital. All we return to the dreadnought then. Ramblers, rhythm the only tether for our homeless crew. I measure the slowing metronome of my lung against the regrets of a life forsworn. You see, I come from a city where men have opinions and women have gossip, where men have ideas and women have bodies, where women have vaginas but men kinda just want pussy. And this isn't the first time I tried something like this. Darshan. Now the closest translation I can pull from the Sanskrit to our skinny tongue is that your hands pull me from the bonds of another person's song, place me in a tuning where only I know what strings to pluck, and you, perhaps, should I offer up the tonal map of my body? So as a marionette to my madness, I consider this, how it would be to have your hands in my neck, nails scratching each midnight fret and night terror twang, toiling the witching soundtrack of my insomnia jazz, until at last you settle upon a major key, brooding in chance, and turn it 3 times anti-clockwise. It is my own blood which she pours in my ear, and in there is a dreich drum of neoliberalism and the mellow organ of urban monotony. Bird song struggles to bounce off these surging grey monoliths we call progress, and we are so deaf to the bombs we think our digital shrieks more pressing. So how to tame your madness in a world that parallels psychosis and savagery? Inward, she says, inward, while onward the crew call around me. There is silence beneath the broader waves of you, but brave the depths and their currents. Stop swimming, you will not drown, but see how seamlessly you live up on waves so fine. I don't want to be a coin in the confessionary economy. I will let light and I and the he and she that dance in me form dawns on the horizon, fusing Odysseus' journey with a vampiric lust. I will stand as the tenacity of Hydra and be the downfall of stray men. Tell me, why should I believe in one God when all stories eventually hold true? For if facts are made of repeated experience, then this body of mine holds more potency for speculative fiction and poetry than the linear narrative which this reality places upon it. When, oh my love, she says, you are not in control. You are alone. Making solitude of your dreams is no way to bring them to fruition, just as working with no vision makes stagnancy of every single fucking decision, and an interest in change means absolutely nothing if that interest is not committed. Oppenheimer flirted with the sempiternal. Einstein found Shiva in the matter he dealt. So how do I make laconic the mind of counting myself as a star in the same cosmos their descendants condemned? How do I place myself in a land of no division between myth, magic, and materialism? Only as myself. Only as myself. But you gave that away, she says. Remember? Now in my ranting, I've failed to notice that I've been disembarked. The dreadnought is gone and my blisters are filled with sand. The jack hare trots in my shadow still and delivers me to a riverbank, black and still as unworn silks, and there Karen and Erebus are stood, steaming, drunk on wrath. Hades has just left, Erebus says, and beckoning me, he bade Karen take o'er. You should have known he cares only for punctuality. Moths unfold for his gums, maggots materialise for the smoke he exhales, his mottled nails spiral inside themselves like seashells made into sabres. A maw of names caught in his maw of a mouth, his shoulders are antlered above a changeling's body. He is spotted and scarred and he is staring at me. Oh, fuck. You have no place here, beggar. His tongue is a carcinogen. His gaze catalyzes rigor mortis. Thanatos will tell you when, and you will wish it not then. Hubris to take for the work of a god, is it not? And yet another thinks me selfish, as if I'd not tried to guilt my way into wanting life before. So Lord of Chaos, I asked of the hurricane, tell me why should I go back? And he said it was not for him to show. And instead, sidestepping, he revealed the riverboat anew. Karen was returning, separating the sticks with a young man by his side. The son of a sailor he seemed, his cheeks not yet creviced by wind, his brow uncracked and his voice unsmoked. Smooth were his forearms, warm was his eye. It took me no time at all to realise he too was yet to die. He had dreamed his way to be here, I was told. Walk into lynches from my face. He knew he too had to return to his life, but would not leave me in this place. He led with lips the colour of pomegranate seeds. And as he kissed me at the gates of hell, I recalled a forgotten plea. Yes, as he kissed me, the heaven of my life did I at last, and too late, see. Act 2. A modern Gigantomachy. Now the sailor took a long rum and stroll. His son, a statue on the dune, sip and spliff in hand, waiting for a moment of kindness to arise from the horizon as the sun shook free the last tendrils of this dream. There was a whole pool of blood between them, a forest of dreamsick and intergenerational fuckery as the waves used to bring us witches, the sailor said. And that is to say that the sea gave spells for our sleepless nights so we could wear smiles stitched like hot sex over the banquet table. But careful, my son. She placed 5 of my best years in her pocket and sank me. I like your face. It's got that tortured bougie look. So what is this myopia you have settled for, my son? Is it the echo of every woman you have ever loved cascading to a stagnancy yourself, or you place too much of you in them and let their dietary habits affect your gut? Do not trust those waves that lift you most. Do not be a butcher uninvited to the barbecue. You see, my son, I am the shadow of the shrapnel of Marie Antoinette's sins and the pious call of the Seahawk that floats through your midnight whispers. I see more of myself in the spittle of toothpaste that dots the mirror than any reflection itself. So let us cordon off this corner, we have changed for better. Bury our chisels and pension our typist parts. Now the ocean sang her breath here, spilling over the sun like he had the very current of his blood, conniving with her cunning maid. Was he now a conspirator of chance? Displace your stewardship and dance with me. The Seahawk above seemed to whisper, flirting with the shoreline as the sun at last spoke. I'm always perceived I do not know how to let substance sit in the subtext if that isn't obvious by Act 2. And all of my poems are about Mary and the sea. She has made lunacy of this man. And there is no madness like love, he said. We think we are memories when we are but moments, my father. I am born only to forgive myself and then you. So shrouded in dusk, I followed that dream song of voice I knew. Not for me. Raw nights I sail my debut fractions, a mottled breath keening me forth. Before at last I permitted myself rest. One night with the naiads. A sight no man has shared. And I knew my purpose true when they dangled their feet with me at the water's edge. And explained to me the sense I had that Hermes had twisted his ankle and left a delivery in my stead. And at that riverbed I met the dreamer. In a swarm of lust and listless chance, this woman took my wrist to coat in heather and honey, pulled my kisses to the tide. Make no mistake, in this moment we are an occurrence. Bodies bruising as we tumble through bramble, toiling the overgrow of corporate memories and symbiotic careers. Into the moonlit shore we plunge, the lavender of her navel unshackling my madness, keeping deep in diaphragmatic breaths and intercostal love as the threads of three sisters. When hark, she says, let this moment be an echo in the tyranny you assuage. Permit a memory to untangle a lifetime of active choice and anarchist hope. Let us be statues anachronism, sentinels riding wildly, residing in a time zone we abide by our own design. Let you wear this moment like a silver bangle, like an outline of the moon. For what is love for, if not fueling rebellions? So if I am a lover, let me be a good one. Let me know what it is to hold someone as holy as they deserve and cease my succumbing to skullduggery, these grimoire prayers at dusk. If I were named a verb, let it be roam. Let me be a listless breeze, the calm in a spray of salt spray kisses, the chaos of cat versus gravity, and the tenderness of custard and almond tarts torn slowly on a Portuguese beach. If I am to live as a name, let it be my own, extruded from obsidian, making canyons of my decisions. Let actions never be carved of a feather, but full-fledged fissures of abandon and adolescent faith. Let my earthquaking heart form catacombs between art and life. Let me wear honest words, speak kindly ones, but if I made a ship, you must let the captain go. No man can be expected to stay staffs with fate. See, I found the window, but I saw only the glass. My beautiful people were standing right at my door, but I was singing in an age of self-discovery through solitude, forgetting lone wolves die if they do not find nor form a pack. So I will be an oar to her as best I can, and in return, I ask that she is the map. Now, next morning, the naiads didn't bother waving me off. Final words billowing the sails I hoisted, these things she bade me tell her lover, and if I'm gonna be honest with you, they were all really fucking uncomfortable. Come back, make an anvil of my body. Tears warm as sunbeams on my collar. I'm sorry for when I had to hold myself before you, but what use is the stone of my legs if my ankles are wearing mud? See, I love your tongue like the tide loves time, vagrant syllables crystallized out, whispered warmly in a thin dark cot by palms pressed in prayer. And I pictured him, this dead poet. As a kind of boy that as soon as he spunks, he's probably back to bed. I can't promise I'm different, but at least my cigarettes are reliable. See, I like to think of myself as a bit of a ballroom junkie. Okay, no, you don't like that one. How about, what about if would you mind if my songs distracted your midnights? Nope, okay. If I tried to incept dreams into our smuggler's bed. Really? I thought that one was quite good. Okay. Gave up. Here. We'll give up. Glad of an empty horizon. I realised that I was not a poet, fair dues to the cunt, not even in thought. But then, the silence struck me. In a section of sea I knew should be but filled with song and shriek there, yes, westward, where crag kissed cliff and cloud fucked cairn, the bed of a choir made quiet, the home of sirens seemingly made silent. Now forewarned I had been to avoid them in entirety, but the lack of needed wax from my ears made me haul on toward their lair. Hook, line, sphincter, shitemare. A rhythmic, spinal, clacking, uncoiling her skeletal form above a bed of dead crocuses, not life, barely live, her skin drooping over guttural hips, seaweed plaits broke out of her hair. Oh, she rose as a crucible of promises unkept, chords and the creaking of her bones uncontained by a treble clef, and still that dawning moment that she would in all probability be my death. But the eye that should have glinted with hunter's mark was instead something sallow, mute. Fear had made its bed with her, bunkered in the trenches beneath her eyelids, so I'm stood stock still and absolutely fucking shitting it as she graced me with a smile so strange a sight to sip, then guzzle in lungfuls of that gaze, until the line of that pearly eye sauntered over my shoulder where the beam she combed. Something else has snagged her sight. A hunter is come. Her role, once revered, now reversed and made redundant, as the stretch of his shadow spilled over her own. Whiplash as the siren leapt, led by a war call, shrill battle cry of plague, a foghorn of hate, and muses raped. A man is come. Come in search of seizing a great seizing, cocking his rifle, raised, aimed, too fucking late. Witch! He shrieked as his weapon was shattered, skin pale as the cocaine he'd had for confidence. He stood with wolf whistle as she began to speak. Oh, you punks! Expect I am grip and a man, my mouth sure that my tongue does never miss. To hell now trudge thee, long boy with face like soggy cabbage. I'll leave your body like an empty rucksack. The hunter fails to flee. If you make Troy of my body, I'll rent my sister's name. Call me Pasiphae for my curses, and fuck the monsters I spawn, but never pacified. Now he's lain, he's flayed, a cadaver. A body in no need of an embalmer. This bruised boy who huffed and bucked his stammered equity before at last he chanced upon her sex. And he shrieked as she clogged his waning throat with teeth. And which, he shrieked. I then, I shall be so, a woman who understands power. And she turned to me then. The hunter's gums were still slimed and sinewy between her own, saying, "Hie thee to hell, wanderer! We should not rely our feed on he that prays, not us, deities in demise. You bring us back our song, young sailor! Bring us back our song!" So sailing away, I was afraid. And my heart kind of panged for the chewed man, wondering about his aim, and why is it that a saint must prove himself with the things that he has slain? Love the protest, contentment, insatiable, how to peace, and never permit boredom, sigh between
Prayers jangling knee, boredom,
the art, love the protest,
act, boredom, slattering
offspring, instead protest,
love fed consumption, conscious they never see the suit of the cards in their slight how
will passion,
grow if mind is always newly sown, time eaten,
filling the right heart, love the protest, distraction, protest, love split the atom just to know not to act. I don't chase anymore, only follow my smile. As a curated piece, I do not let myself be led, only guided. So, in the sinew of treetops, I will stitch a haven where the songs have to be strained for and the food has to be plucked, a forest that abides waiting where dreams come unstuck. Love is the protest. I will build a rookery where they can learn to be alone, truly alone, starving, thawing each moment until they feed at last, emerging as tillers, watchers, reaping. Yet how much easier would it be to build if my hands only knew the lost teachings of my father now? That night, it was not the poet's lover, but the self-murdered himself I heard. My bruises are algae. I smoke packs of embalmers, sometimes psychosis, Shostakovich, always ensuring I loathe myself cleverly. I'm coming, I whispered. I am on my way. Next morning I woke next to dryads made into granite. Concave faces, fingers curled cravenly round the stony hems of their bedsheet dresses, hair like rope drooping, but it's just a masquerade a hiding. 1, tantrums. 2, wails. 3, storms, backlit by a green sea, the forest's hand-carved melancholia. 1, brow to bark like she were asking the tree to sprout a branch through her head. Another, by the oak, next to which time is young, she looks as if she is wondering if Mary was given opportunity to consent. So fear-set and shame-faced, I made haste to sail. The water was stiller in these parts, black and thick. The banks were low and narrow. I had not realised that I'd moved from sea to stream. No wind here. So I collapsed the sails, doubled my wingspan with oar and with hope. But then, for the first time, another ship I saw, harried by a harpy, harassed by hate as it ducked and dived and shrieked and cried. The sole silhouette on the stream up ahead, closing in, confirmed it. The harpy harangued an empty vessel, had flung feces, lacerated the mast. I held my breath as I watched the harpy pause and pull a razor up her own leg. Now I let forth, pulled stern, an eon in my step, batting the blade for her clawed hand, asking why?
For I am overthought again. I'm not committing the concept nor trusting the process. I am flailing, failing, perhaps. Not waving, not drowning. Just waiting for someone to notice that I shouldn't be in the river. See, commuting between two lives is only easy if they run parallel. And I cast memories of you, and the lines loom like time back when no matter the size of the city, I assumed I took up 1/3 of it. But now I'm not even the sewn patch on your jeans. I just want them to remember who I was on a dance floor. How cruel to overlook simplicity, to always be waiting and waiting when nothing is coming but now. So I'm not waiting any longer. I'm sitting. I'm watching. I'm watching for red kites, for crows. And if none come, clouds will just have to do.
Now I pass by her, turning to watch her once more, the self-hating harpy hacking her own tail, trying to tear off leathered wings for the sake of stasis. What myth of individuals had I wandered, where harpies harm selves and sirens can't sing? Well, at last the horizon answered, with he recognizable like no other. My sea-bred father, I recall you now, and thank you for the lesson. I checked my gold earrings were there, though I had not once in my life taken them out. I remember the ferryman must always be paid, no matter where one drowns. Karen sapped the colour frae the stream toward tertiaries from the tide. With every inch he encroached until the tip of his scanty ship found the tip of my own boat. Hair like an oil spill, his palm uncurled like praise, beckoning me step forward and softly said my name. And now this part of import, the sailor's son said, the half-life poet, on the banks of the Hellmouth. The vitality I was bade I'm bound to restore. See, hitherto I've talked a tale in my own tongue, but now I lean on the words of the woman who you once loved, who told me that she once asked you, what is the fucking point in modern love poems? New love poems, I mean. It's a paradox, right? It's a fallacy. It's a masturbation, if we're gonna be honest. The burglar historic words and lose the main loot. All art is theft, but the measure is only all art is theft, but the treasure is only measured by the skill of the thief. Of course, that one's on film. And I'm sorry, babe, but you'll never do it like Rilke. So what's the use in trying to grasp the ungraspable, to hold the smoke of translation? Why submit to the suffering of asking? Well, the dance is in the chance. And every dreamer has theirs at defining love. And after all, aren't the best definitions always questions? So first then, what is love? Love is the hair that grows over tattoos. It is the deer that stalk the streets of Chernobyl. Love is offering love a cup of tea and only completing one of the 3 stages and replacing that most heinous crime with biscuits. Love is a stomach to plunge a face to on the post-shift celebration and a spare leg to make numb after dusk. It is the koala that roars in the wee hours for fucking and city boys that I've never heard. A Peter Diesel waking to waterfall, gathering wildflowers, calling insects motherfucker at first sight of sun. It is rook and jackdaw sharing migration from Uranus to new, sharing plans made uncouth amid the flavours we play and bind up the booze, bind our fair beauty and our hearts anew. Ask and never assume the answers of the loom as 3 sisters thread us in a clock's slow dance. Come, midnight, paper, angel, I watch you moon-kissed and try and keep my tidal gloom for winter. Love is smiling silently in the dark as love gets up to pen a line for a play that you both know will never be written, and you know this and love knows this, but still, love kinda loves the line that goes, "There are meals to be stuffed and meals to be savoured. The mark of a gentleman is never confusing the two." Love is spilt cider and borrowed hot tub flirtations, leaving the dishes till after breakfast. It's not sitting down until every blanket is folded, starting your next job of the evening at the exact fucking moment that dinner is served. It's leaving a nook in your body for love's tired body to rest. Love is wearing whatever the fuck you want and never giving your dreams haircuts. It's dancing barefoot with the smoke outline of Patti Smith and taking the heat of love's body as the chorus kicks in. It's acknowledging the shadow's depth and its shape, and accepting that sometimes love will leave you. Maybe just leave you unsure of what to do. But if you're lucky, if you're really fucking lucky, love is you. Now the sailor's son at last finished his soliloquy with a smile. Gallus was his gait as he turned to me for firm embrace and a question on his face, saying, "Come, come," he said, "what did you think?" And I was a poet without a pen, so I followed him back. Onto land, not too quick, each step, solidity returning, turf, terrain, twigs rise between my toes, it's a kiss of web and life. Back to the admin. Back to people. Those fuckers. With a whisper of mind reeling like a broken projector reel, resolve. Wage place in the morning throng, the window awaits your wisdom, by which means you're learning. Dream sick you may be, life is not failure to do wrong. No sunlight can operate you, there is no callousness at dawn, make a lighthouse of your want. There is no martyrdom for automatons, drag yourself, drag voice into the morning throng. Perhaps you were laying the soil and woke to a prick of thorn, the chunder of oars, toiling through questions of what peace you may have earned. Dreamsick you may be, life is never by proxy. And as you trod the garden, grin Gallus and wildly along, the lines that the shrubs that line night's courthouse where you found them adjourned. Resolve yourself, wage words with the morning song, torch in hand, toward the hills where you first belonged, and as you passed, conspiratorial, the mountains each turned. Dreamsick you may be, life is not failure to do wrong. And as you drop blaze, set flame, slew selves and names as the burning heather whispered, ignite the soul, but not the self, never home, but only hearth, dreamsick you may be. There is no excuse to mend wrong with wrong. Drag yourself on. Wage words with the morning song. Drag yourself on. Come and join the 100-headed song.